What are we at? 2:03. Call the meeting to order. Sorry. Okay. Just wanted to say welcome to everybody, and certainly very exciting for me to be here and have this opportunity to do this. It's a little weird that in my first official meeting as superintendent, I'm technically chairing it right now. That's odd to me. And yes, I did watch last year's organizational meeting just to try and make sure I knew all the nuances of what I needed to do. So hopefully we'll get going without too many glitches. What I'll do first, we're going to do our territorial acknowledgement, and then I've got a couple welcomes that I'd like to do. So first of all, I'd just like to say, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Nations, which include the Kainai, the Siksika, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda First Nations and the Métis Region 3 and all the people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Alberta. Before we begin, I would like to officially welcome Robbie Charlebois, our new Associate Superintendent of Human Resources. So I think you've all had an opportunity to meet her, and certainly you'll get an opportunity to meet her over the coming months and weeks. But Robbie, welcome. It's been wonderful having you here. And as you can imagine, she's been very popular and very busy because there's always lots of things going on with staffing, particularly this time of year. And I really appreciate the way you've just picked it up and ran with it. So certainly been tremendous help. And then also just wanted to give you a heads up that Christine Lee is not here today. She's not able to make it, but Avis will be filling in to answer any questions and assist with some of the voting and procedural things that need to happen. So with that, we'll get down to our first bit of business, which is the election of our board chair. And so the process is I will call for nominations. I'll call 3 times for nominations. As the nominations come in, there'll be an opportunity to speak about the nomination. Once we're done that, then I'll go over the voting process once we've finished off nominations. Okay? Okay, so we'll do the first call for nominations for board chair. Yes, we're out of practice.
I would like to nominate Alison Purcell. I think she does an amazing job of listening to students and teachers and parents and the board and everyone at the board office, admin council. And so I'm happy to nominate her. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. We're still in first call for nominations. Go ahead, Christina.
I'd like to nominate Christine. I deeply admire and appreciate the leadership we've had from Alison, and I also appreciate the leadership that we've seen from all of the trustees at the table throughout the 2 years. And for the coming year, as we move to a new superintendent, a new associate superintendent, I'm looking for our board to have a strong adherence to policy and procedure and process in the board. And I think I've seen quite a commitment to that from Christine. And so that would be what I would be looking for this year in our leadership, so that we can support our operational leadership by taking care of our process here at our table.
Still in first call for nominations. Okay. Second call for nominations. Third and final call for nominations. The awkward pause. Okay, last opportunity. Okay, so what we'll do now is we will have the election for board chair. And so Avis is going to get you a ballot, which is really just a torn up piece of paper. You will write your selection. The 2 that have been nominated for board chair are Christine Light and Alison Purcell. You'll write your chosen nominee on the piece of paper, fold it in half, and then Avis will come around and collect them. You can just hold your hand up when you're... Pardon me? Oh, they didn't last year, but they're more than welcome to speak this year. Yeah, we can absolutely do that before we vote. So yes, if you'd like to speak, we'll turn it over to you. Alison, since you were nominated first, you can speak first.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm honored to have the nomination and accept that. Thank you very much, Andrea. I have enjoyed the last 2 years being the board chair and the opportunities that that has afforded me to be able to help guide the division in the direction that we're going. And of course, having our new superintendent, I would be delighted to be able to be the board chair with our new superintendent and our new associate superintendent as we all work together as a team going forward. So thank you very much, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you for the nomination, Christina. It would be my pleasure and honor to serve the board in this capacity. I've served as chair in 3 years ago in the prior board. I think this one of the strengths of our board, which has also been a little bit of a challenge of our board, is our diversity. And I think there is strength to be found in our diversity. And I think our board represents our constituents. We really do. And I believe that we can do and have been doing really incredible things for this division. I believe students must come first. I believe our students must be served. And we serve them in our governance level through policy and adhering to policy and ensuring that policies support all students and that the board functions within the parameters of our policy. And so I I'm hoping that we can move the new superintendent with the new associate superintendent of HR full force with excitement to serve our students and our community and continue to just build our capacity in listening to staff, bringing forward more student voice, listening to parents and just partnering with them in an even stronger way. Thank you.
Before we begin voting, anything else that we missed? Okay, wonderful. As soon as you have your selection, just hold up your hand and Avis will come around and collect it from you. Okay, everyone, we have the results. And I'd like to congratulate Allison Purcell as she was elected as the board chair. Congratulations, Allison.
I move that the ballots be destroyed.
Thank you.
All in favor? Ballots being destroyed. Okay, thank you. And thank you for the electing me as board chair again. I appreciate that, and I look forward to all working together as we move forward. And we have lots of things to cover in this next year, and I think we can work together as a team to accomplish what we need to accomplish for the best of our students that come to us every day. Did you want me to move there, Mike? Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Avis. Okay, so next we'll move on to approval of the agenda. So the agenda is there for you. Is there any additions needed? Seeing none, can I have somebody approve the agenda? Christine, and those in favor? And that's carried. So next we're going to move on to the election of the vice chair. Again, that goes for the same process as election for the chair. So first I will do first call for nominations for vice chair. So first call. Christina.
I'm honored to continue my nomination for Christine Light. Something that Madam Chair has told me many times, and I really appreciate it, is that leadership of a board doesn't only rest in the chair, right? That it's a collective effort that represents our community, and all of the roles at this table are very important. And one of those other roles is vice chair. And so for the same reasons that I value Christine's leadership, in addition to Allison's leadership, I would like to nominate Christine as vice chair.
Excellent, thank you. Further nominations for first call. Craig.
I'd like to nominate Jenny Steed for vice chair. I have enjoyed watching both you and Jenny work together, and I appreciate your desire to move the division forward in the governance area and to be able to meet the needs of all students. I think Jenny is well-spoken, and she has a desire to make sure that the parents, the staff, the students are all heard. And so it's with my pleasure that I nominate her.
Thank you. Further call for first nominations for vice chair. Seeing none, we'll move to second call for nominations for vice chair. And then third call for nominations for vice chair. I'll close the nominations, and as Mike had said, last year we didn't do speeches, but would we like to continue that and have them both do speeches? We're good. Okay, so Christine, I'll give it to you. You were first nominated.
This time. Again, thank you for the nomination and the confidence. I agree wholeheartedly that leadership isn't only in the chair. We are all leaders around this table, and we all have a significant impact, role, and responsibility to this board, to each other, and to our division. And so it would be an honor to serve our board in this capacity, and it would be an honor to be able to support our chair and work alongside her as we move our division forward.
Thank you, Christine. And Jenny?
Oh, there we go. I should have followed your advice one step further. Thank you for that nomination, and thank you for the words that have been spoken by each of you today. They were quite reflective of things that I have pondered over the summer, and tried to look over what the work we've accomplished and identify where it is that we are trying to go. And I've drawn a lot of the same conclusions, that this board has so much strength and often when talking about a person or a board or anything, our greatest weakness is also our greatest strength. And I think that was accurate. And I'm impressed by the way that our board uses it as a strength, and that we
we are able to communicate in a respectful manner and that we are able to identify that we're all here for what is best for kids. And I appreciate how often we come back to that question and how it grounds us and establishes us. The work that we did this last year in establishing our values and guiding statement for us, a mission call has been a very good work, and I think that has been such a grounding, unifying endeavor, and I'm excited to throw ourselves into that and to work hard toward that and to strive to understand our role as governors and our role as a board and to understand how we are best able to support education has been my takeaway as I've reflected over the summer and reviewed some of the work we've done and thought about this coming year. And I think that is an effort that I see in each of us. And so I'm looking forward to this next year. And I would be honored to work with Allison again. It was a learning experience, and I feel like I did the practice round, and now I want to play for real. So I'm excited to work with our new superintendent as well, whether as vice chair or not. I know that we're going to have a productive year and some great experiences together. So thank you.
Thank you, Christine and Jenny. So Avis is going to hand out the papers, and once you've filled it out, as Mike said, put up your hand and she'll come and collect them. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and make the announcement. Okay, just like to congratulate Christine Light on being the vice chair for the 2023-24 school year. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Christine. Craig.
To destroy the ballots.
Okay. And those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Avis. Perfect. So next we'll move on to some of our businessy type stuff that we need to take care of. So the first thing is the approval of the bank borrowing resolution. So the information is there in regards to this, and I do need a trustee to make the motion that is stated in our board package and on the screen. Christina?
I move that the board approve the 2023-2024 bank borrowing resolution in the amount of $500,000 to finance the operation of the school division as required, pending receipt of government funding, and that a copy of this resolution be appended to the minutes of this meeting.
Okay. And then we have a question from Jenny.
Clarifying question, and I think I might have asked the same one last year. Is this is like, we're not accessing this loan at this point, are we? Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, I tried to be so fast.
You knew the
Yes,
question
and-
was coming.
Yeah, and I realized the flaw in our plan that I sent out the person who can answer the question to destroy the ballots, so.
So we are not accessing this loan right now. This is mostly just so that it is in place with the bank, just in case anything were to occur. Everything has been put in place, but we are not accessing it, nor since my involvement with the school division in 2012 has there been any access to it. Yeah, so it's just mostly if something were to happen, it's already in place, so we didn't have to come and do this.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I asked that question last year. So thank you for repeating the answer. And I think it's good to clarify even for the public to understand that we're on track with our budget.
Tyler?
I want to ask the same question as last year as well.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess since we're not using it, it's not a big deal, but our budget over the last 10 years has really gotten big. So I just wondered if $500,000 is still sufficient or if that amount should be increased given, because I don't think $500,000 is going to do a lot for us given our $140 million budget. But as long as you say it's still sufficient, then that's good. But
I think that it's sufficient just mostly to yeah, if we're getting down, honestly, if we're getting down to using this, then I think that, yeah, there's bigger issues that, yeah, yes, yeah.
And you would be back before the board if you needed
Certainly.
to request for more
Yeah.
and having discussion.
Yeah.
Anyways, if we were at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is absolutely a valid question, for sure.
Any further questions? Those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next is approval of the signing authority. So again, the motion is there. I'm looking for a trustee to make that motion. Dean, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You have a question? Okay.
No, I was going to make the motion because it's about her, so.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I move that the bank signing authority be the board chair or the vice chair and the secretary treasurer, or in their absence, the director of finance, with the exception that for the purpose of signing checks, the signing authority shall be the superintendent of schools and the secretary treasurer and the director of finance. And further, that the board authorize the bank to establish an overdraft lending agreement, which has been duly executed by the proper officers of the board when loans are required.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, those in favor? And that's carried. So next on the agenda is regarding the committee reports in terms of reference. So you'll see what's written there is that at our September regular board meeting is where we'll be covering any of the changes to terms of reference, mandate, membership, remuneration. So that will all happen at our regular board meeting. I do recognize, and Mike and I had a discussion, that there may be things as we go through today that you're like, we want to change some of the composition. If we're not able to come to agreement of without changing the terms of reference today, then we would hold off. If there was any committee that required a change in that piece, we would hold off and we would do that. It's in 2 weeks' time. We would do that when we approve the terms of reference, and then we would nominate to that committee or appoint to that committee at that time. So does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So we can still, if there's pieces of discussion, but that we would side that to September or regular board meeting. So next we'll dive right into our, yep. Oh, go ahead, Craig.
So just, there's a couple of committees that I'd like to see changed, but can I bring it up now and then just refer it back to the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If we can't come to agreement with whatever it is, but if it's something that's going to majorly change the terms of reference, we would hold off on that
Okay,
for the
so
2 weeks' time.
It probably have to change the terms of reference, but I would just like the board to be aware that I really strongly feel, again, the budget is our main job and it should be the whole board, not one trustee or two trustees. And the superintendent evaluation, again, is one of our major jobs. And it should be the whole board and not two trustees.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing that out.
Yep.
And I will put it in the,
Okay.
for the September 26th meeting.
Sounds good. So one thing with the committees, so last year when we went through, there was a number of trustees that said that they had just gotten used to what happened on that committee and they'd like to stay on for a second year. And I recognize that that may be the case for some of the committees again this year, but I would ask you to try to think of and consider that we want all trustees to have an idea of what happens throughout our division. I know this last year I made a very concerted effort to, as ex officio, to attend every committee as best I could, not every committee all the time, but at least to have an idea of what each committee did. And I think that just having that awareness is really important. So as we go through, I'm not saying that just because you did it for the last 2 years doesn't mean you can't continue, but I want you to take some consideration into that as we move through the list. And there are a number of committees that we need to move through today. Andrea, go ahead.
I just wonder if we could have kind of some free discussion right now from people saying if you've been on something long enough that you would like to move on, because otherwise as it rolls out in an order, you're not really sure what people's wishes are.
As they
If we
might
could
not
do
want
that.
to actually move off of, is what you're saying.
Right, right.
Okay.
So then you haven't said that you would do that, or if it
And as
could
we
it
go
be
through
more,
each committee, we're not, it's not a vote to say, like, it's not a motion for each one. So we can come back if you say
Okay.
that you wanted to not, like, I know you don't want to get off of Spirit 51 and you tell everybody how awful it is because you don't want anybody to go on it. So I know that. She's like, come on. So are you okay to wait to, as we come to them?
well,
Or
as
do
we
you guys
get to
think?
each one, could the people who are on it
Yep.
say that they're on it, and if they
Would like to or not?
would like to not
Yep.
be on it?
And then if we need to
And
circle
then
back
maybe
to
we could
any
just
to,
keep circling
Yeah.
back?
yeah, and if we need to
Okay.
circle back to any of them to say, hey,
Or
I'll
just
trade
put it
you
on a
that
board
one.
and we could just go write our names on it?
Okay, so let's try going through these. So the first one is Board Audit Committee. And you, ahead.
I was just going to say, because the dates of that audit committee have been set for the fall, the 2 meetings. So just in case that, makes you want to come hang out with us. So Tuesday, September 19th at 3 p.m. and Friday, November 17th at 10 a.m. Or just the 2 meetings for the audit committee.
10 a.m.
September 19th at 3 p.m. So that's next Tuesday. And then Friday, November 17th at 10 a.m. Both are here. Perfect, thanks.
So we currently have Craig and Tyler. Craig, go ahead.
Although I've enjoyed that, I am not going to be available Tuesday, September 19th. So I would probably ask for someone else to take it over.
Tyler, your thoughts?
I can stay on, it's fine, unless there's other people who have desire.
Okay.
Do the auditing fun.
Fun times. So we have Tyler that would like to stay on. Is there who would like to join him on that committee? Sounds like he'll probably take on the chair portion too. It sounded like that knowledge and experience. Have you been on it before? Is that something you'd like to try out? You're like Andrea. Yes. Yes.
If I could just,
Okay.
if I
Craig.
could just, it's not too difficult, and Avis does a good job of coordinating it, and I think our meeting might have taken 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then on the 17th, it's usually about the same, and it's an opportunity to meet people of the community, because on that committee, you have to have 2.
There's 2 public members who are on the committee. So we have a retired banker and a partner at an accounting firm in town. So both have financial backgrounds, and yeah, and so yeah, thanks, Greg.
So it's not too strenuous, and it's done By November meeting, you're done. You don't have to do anything else.
We'll circle
And
back.
Avis writes up the report too.
You want to circle back after you see those days? Okay. Tyler, you're good for chair? Okay. Excellent. So next is the budget committee. So we currently have Christina and Jenny. And Christina, I think you've done it 2 years. Yep. So your thoughts on,
Yeah, all the committees that I'm on, I feel like
You're
I'm,
good too.
I'm good. If people
Yeah.
want them, that's fine. I also enjoyed them, so I'm happy
Yep.
to keep. So I don't cut your other way.
one thing with budget committee is that you're like, in April and May, the whole board was invited to a number of those meetings. So it wasn't that the other board members are not involved or have input into the budget as you wish and
Yeah.
desire to.
And I
So-
think for other newer trustees, the biggest role was chairing those portions of those meetings. That was like the different responsibility of that role. That's all.
And Christina also, as the chair of that committee, chaired the budget meeting at our actual budget meeting, the public budget meeting.
If you chaired, I wouldn't mind being on that. No, I don't want to chair it because I don't know enough about it, but
So I'm not seeing anybody jump except for Christina and.
I actually
not
love
jumping.
budget, so if I'm
Okay.
happy to do it.
Okay. So it's if you chair, then Andrea would go as the second. And nobody is jumping up and down for that. so-
Avis, we're having a hard time selling the money.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm lots of fun.
I wasn't going to tell anybody until after we picked it, but Avis always writes the reports, and it's so good.
So it's just good. It's perfect. So next is community engagement. So currently Jenny is the chair and Christina is the trustee rep. And I think that's your first year on there, Christina? Yep. And then I know Christine had been on for a number of years. So thoughts?
I've done this one for the last 2 years, and it is a really fun one. It's a really rewarding one. You usually meet in the evenings, and this is a neat one because we have some consistent parent involvement in this one of members from the community that are willing to come and give their time and their input and engage with us, and they work hard. And so it is a neat one. We get to engage with the community a lot. I'd be willing to let this one go so I can try some other things. The highlights of this one is the ICE scholarship, and that's a neat experience to just be right in there and see the work that some of the students in our school. And then really our other big thing we do is our town hall, but really we got all kinds of people doing all the work for that. So you just get credit.
So others interested in community engagement? Tyler, come on. Tyler's like, nope, looking away. Craig?
Do it again? Oh, you just said that, sorry. But we can do it again. Yeah, you're going to hang out this year.
And Christina, you're okay to be the chair?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, and Christina is the chair. Yep.
Sorry, I should have mentioned this right when we started. Just as an FYI, when we get down to the ad hoc committees and we get into QP 290 and 2843, the negotiating committees, because negotiations have started, there's been a gap there. Ideally, we would have those folks continue on if possible. So just before you commit to things, looks like everyone knows that already. So.
Yeah. Nobody's fighting you on that. Okay, so next is wellness. And I know what Andrea's going to say. So Andrea?
well, since I've taken 2 on,
Oh,
and I really want to stay on the Indigenous education one because I just barely got on that, and ideally Spirit 51. No, no. So though that's where I'm going with
Okay.
those. So I'm gonna back off and
so you're okay to come off of that one?
yeah, I mean I really do love that one. And
And Jenny, you were on that one as well.
I've done that one for 2 years as well, and I'm happy to stay on it still. It's interesting, or I'm happy to, I've gone through and put a dot by all the ones I'm interested in. It's the rest.
Okay.
So if anyone else is willing, I'm,
So Christina is interested.
Yeah.
Are you?
I would, if someone would take poverty interment, I love it, obviously, but I feel like I'm happy with where I've landed with it, so
Okay.
I'm willing to switcheroo.
Okay.
Get ready to
So
talk about active transportation.
Christina, and then Jenny, you said you are okay to stay on, or you would like to, no, you had others you were dotting. Okay, sounds good. So I'm looking for another person to be on wellness unless you're okay to stay on. Okay, so Tyler. And Tyler, are you wanting to chair or leave it to Christina? Perfect. Oh. Okay. Tyler is chairing that one. Who was? Oh, perfect. Okay, we're good with that. Facilities, I have Christine and Tyler. I know last year, I think you guys just swapped who was chair and who was not. Craig, is that one that you would want to be on? I haven't seen your name come up yet. It might come up later, but
Yeah, I could consider that.
okay. And Tyler, are you wanting to stay on? Okay. Christine, you're good to,
I'm interested.
okay, and Jenny's interested. So Jenny and Tyler? Okay. And Jenny, are you wanting to chair or you want Tyler to chair?
Christine nominated me for chairing.
It is like the agenda is already pretty much
Perfect.
like, yeah. Okay, so
Perfect.
Jenny is chair for that one. Next is Indigenous education. So I on here have Christine and Andrea has said she would like to stay on. And Christine would like to stay on. Are there others that are interested? Christine, are you okay? Okay. Okay. So I am good then for the two of you. So which one would chair? Okay, sounds good.
I think I did this last year too. I also want to clarify for the public who's watching us try to figure this out, is that we all are all very interested and very supportive of all of these
Oh, yes.
very important committees and the important work they're doing.
Yeah.
Are we interested or not is not a real actual
No.
interest as a board. It's just
Yeah.
for the role.
So next is policy, and I have Craig and Christina. So Christina, I think you just got on last year.
When Craig wasn't available, which
Okay.
never happened. He was always available.
He was always there. And then Craig, you've been on it. You're wanting to stay on it.
Yep.
Okay. So others that are interested? Christine?
I actually thought I would appreciate, this is a committee I haven't been on in the past 6 years, and I would like to try to sit on this committee and learn about it. And the work that Christine and I have been doing in the summer on some of the policy work has spurred this passion also to hop onto this committee.
Okay. Jenny?
I think I arm wrestled Craig for this one in our first year. So I have always expressed an interest in this one, but I don't know if we want to change both. But I'll express the interest and report where it lands.
Craig?
During our committee of the whole, I would like to talk about this because it might change what we are looking at as far as the committee. So if Jenny would like to be on the committee and Christine, that's fine, but I will address something in our committee of the whole.
Tyler?
Going by memory, which is always shoddy, but did we not change our committees so that they had a minimum of 2 trustees? Like for policy, this is down as alternate, but do we not have 2 trustees on all of our committees now? So one wouldn't be primary and one wouldn't be alternate, there'd just be 2?
We tried to get that, but it was voted down. Policy was voted down. Most of them were voted down except for a couple of them
Okay.
were the alternate. And I would agree, if you're going to have a committee, you should have at least 2 trustees on every committee. But
Well, I guess it's fine if there's an alternate. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. So, Indigenous education, that both would be on and not as an alternate. Okay, Christine?
I think this is something we can revisit when we talk about our terms of references, and if we can read through these, and when we know which committees we're on, we can come together and intentionally kind of clean up these little pieces.
Mike, you had something to add?
I'll just add very quickly. Yeah, that probably makes sense. We can go back and take a look at the minutes and see, did we miss something? Or because, yeah, it sounds to me like there is a desire to have a conversation about that one and the membership specifically. So we can make sure we have that on the next agenda.
So what I'm hearing, Craig, you're okay to take your name off of the option for the 2 spots? And Jenny and Christine?
if Jenny would like to be on that, it's fine with me.
Okay, so now we're sitting with Jenny and Christine, and we have the designate and the alternate. Field chair, okay. And again, as we discussed, when we do our terms of reference, that'll be a discussion that we'll certainly have and come to a decision based on majority. And next is poverty intervention. So Christina and Christine. So Christina, what you said you were good to take over.
I will heartbreakingly give it up. Yes. No, but it's time. It's yeah. I love that work, but I also get to do it every day and other things. So
Well, I think it is back to what I said at the beginning, that I think it really is important that we
Absolutely.
all
I
have an
completely agree.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
what's
whoever gets it,
happening.
we're ready. We have so much stuff ready to go.
Sounds good. And then Christine, you want to stay on? You are okay to.
I would always love to stay on this. I know we've started work, but we're also willing to transition. People should more than one want to hop onto this committee.
Okay, sounds good. Others?
I am
Jenny?
interested in being a part of this committee and learning more of the details of the work that we do there.
Okay. So Christine, would you be okay to jump to chair? Thank you.
I also think this is another one when in September 26th, we need to look at the terms of reference.
Okay, sounds good. Next is school boundary alignment. So we didn't get a whole lot done this last year. That committee met once. So currently is Craig, myself, and Christine Light. And we had the one meeting. I know that there's meetings scheduled coming up. It was obviously a brand new committee to our division. So I would somewhat recommend that we keep them the same, but also open if there's others that are good.
We're good.
And you're good to stay as the chair?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Because that one barely did anything. Yeah. Spirit of 51. This is the most awful committee out there. Andrea.
Love to be on this committee.
Tyler. Others? Get to plan fun stuff. Get to recognize amazing people in our division, which we have so many. Christina.
This is one I haven't done yet. And if well, I don't want to kick someone off, but I'm willing.
Tyler, are you okay to come off?
Are you sure? Okay. Yeah, it's just in the spirit of trying to make sure that we do hit other things. I haven't done this one. So.
Yep. Sounds good. And then Andrea, you're okay to chair? Okay. There's nobody else. Okay. Superintendent Evaluation Committee. So I have spoken to Mike in regards to this, and our superintendent is obviously part of that committee as well. So as we enter with having a new superintendent, ensuring that we have that evaluation process in place is very important. So I think it always was board chair. I would highly suggest our vice chair as well. And I think that was originally, when we did it the year before, that was where that came from. And then that would be my recommendation. I'm certainly open to hearing opposing thoughts or comments. And then Craig was the third trustee on there. But I would certainly be open to thoughts from others. Craig.
I'll sit on that, and then depending on what happens at our board meeting on the 26th, that might change, but right now I'll sit on it.
Okay. Everybody's good with that? Okay. And then we get into our negotiating our special ad hoc committees. So with the ATA one, we would leave it the same, like leave them all.
ATA one is fine if we decide we want to change that one because we concluded our local bargaining. So it's not as important. The QP ones are more important because the bargaining process is still occurring. But ATA is fine to change if you'd like, or keep the same.
Okay.
I'd like to stay on.
And I'm fine to stay on. Okay, so we'll leave all the 3 unions the same. Next is the expulsion. So it's 2 trustees when required, and that is based on availability when anything comes up in regards to that expulsion piece. Then next is non-union staff. So we currently have Christine Light and Christina Larkin. You're okay to come off? Okay. Christine. Tyler, are you wanting to get on another committee? Okay. Okay. So you're good. Okay. So I think it'll be Christine and Jenny. Does that work? Okay. Non-union, yeah. And Christine, are you okay to chair? Okay. Next is policy review. So this is when we looked at what are we doing with all of the policies in general. Craig.
Depending on what we decide, I think that would be a ad hoc committee that we could dump. And I'll talk about that at committee of the whole. If we don't, then I'll stay on it.
Okay. So your suggestion is that we hold off on that one? Are there other thoughts on, we're okay if we hold off on that for the 2 weeks? Okay, so we will hold off. Then we have ATA working conditions. Tyler is currently the chair and Craig is the vice chair or the trustee rep. And Tyler, thoughts?
I'll stay.
You'll stay?
And I just wanted to say that I'm going to research this really well this year to see if I could possibly be on it in my last year. Being a gray area for me, but it's not that I'm not interested because I am.
Does that one meet? Like, okay.
There's typically an August meeting. Obviously, you wouldn't be involved in that. November, one kind of in the spring, and then there's a May one. Ish. March, yeah.
Christina, you're showing interest?
Yeah, if we need someone. I can't remember. Where do we land? Craig, are you staying? And Tyler? Yeah, I'm doing Spirit if you want to. I haven't done much staff ones, so. Yep.
Okay. So Craig, are you okay to chair?
Yep.
Okay, so Craig will chair that one and then Christina will join. Great. Next is the city and school boards. So it's Christine and myself. And I think this is one as well that our first year there wasn't any meetings and it just got going again this year. So you guys, so Jenny's wanting to. I would like to stay on, but okay. Okay. I can, yep. Yep. And the dates are already set for that, Jenny? The dates are, yeah. So we'll have those we can provide. And then in your package, which isn't necessarily reflected on this sheet, is the EDL one. So in your package, it talks that for economic development Lethbridge, there's an education sector seat. We hold the seat for 2 years. Holy Spirit holds the seat for the next 2 years. So the next 2 years is Holy Spirit. So they've already designated their person for the next 2 years. I will be on it until March. And then in March, it's their Holy Spirit's designate steps up for that. And then ASBA, so zone 6. So it says my name, but it's actually not because I'm zone director. So it is Craig and Christine Light is who is currently on.
I'd like to stay on again.
Okay. And others, Christine, you'd like to stay on? Okay. And you're kind of like the coordinator of the handbook committee, so you can't just drop off. Are there others interested? And just remember with the ASBA Zone 6 meetings that every trustee is always invited to any of those meetings. They're a great opportunity to jump on virtually if you can only come to a portion of it. So it's not something that, even if you're not one of these reps, doesn't mean that you can't join on. And there is a PD portion many of the months. So you can always jump on just for the PD stuff too, if that's what you're interested in. So are we good to keep it as Craig and Christine? Yes, okay. And okay with Craig staying as the chairperson? Okay. And next is Division School Council. So Jenny and Christine. Jenny, I think it was your first year on. Christine, is your first year on it? No, DSC. Go ahead.
I have a suggestion to put forward. So just looking for your input. I know we've had one representative of the board attend DSC. I'm just wondering what this board, if this board would consider participating with DSC like we do with our ATA meetings and each taking a month and signing on for that. I think it's valuable for our school council community to be able to get to know the board in its entirety. And so I'm putting it forward that if we could, I don't know if I need a motion for this. I don't know how this goes, so just guide me in that. If the board would be willing to sign up for months rather than choosing one board member and then perhaps board members can choose or not to choose to come, which is how we've done it. But just being intentional with ensuring that our parent community can meet the board as a whole.
So two things. One is, as long as we all agree, I'm good with it. The other thing that I would have a suggestion just to ensure, because I know that there were some months that we didn't have a trustee or it was a scramble, is that my suggestion would be that the first trustee is always the same. So we have one designate, and then the second seat would be that we sign up for a month. So that, and then obviously DSC has always been, if anybody wants to go, you're welcome to go. And they've typically been virtual. So again, you can, even if you're away, like I've attended many of them just virtually so that I can participate and hear and see what's happening. So that would be my suggestion as an alternate to that piece. But again, it's make sure that we have agreement. So I had Jenny's hand first and then Craig.
The question, does this one have a terms of reference? Would that be making that change? Would that be part of when we're making the changes with the other ones?
It has terms for the membership piece. So that's where it's not like a terms of reference, but it has in here,
So
it talks about.
Do we do this? Do we make changes when we make changes to the other ones?
As long as we're all in agreement, yeah, we can make changes.
now or later is what I'm asking. With the other ones, when we suggested adjustments, we said we'll save it and review it. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Craig?
As with the other ones, I would like to think it's a good idea. I'd like to think about it. I'd like to deal with it at the September 26th meeting.
So I'm open to have more conversation just so that people know everybody's thoughts and then we leave it for a decision for after. So Craig, did you have more to say?
No, but I do think I appreciate the fact that we should have one trustee permanent for the year and then alternate the other trustee throughout the months. But I do think we need to just think about it and then look at the terms of reference and the terms of membership and make sure that we're dealing with it the same way that we deal with all of the other ones.
Christina?
I like the idea of the permanent and the rotating, because I agree. I think it's important to go, and I know that it's always open, but I value that rotation for the ATA as well. That we've just sort of pre-signed up, and I've got it in my calendar, because I think it's such an important way to interact with part of our community.
Good. Okay. So Jenny?
I'm willing to stay on if we're establishing that now, or are we saving all of that?
We can establish
I'm willing
that.
to stay on as a consistent person.
Okay. Tyler?
In the past board, one thing we did too, because people who were the permanent position couldn't make all the meetings, whatever is, so it's the same idea. They would get someone else to go. So I think it would be good. So I think when we get there, even though you say you're signing up as the permanent person, if you can't be there, don't feel like you have to be at every single meeting. Just as long as we have some trustees rotating through and someone else is going to be there, that's great.
Yes, because we do give a trustee report. So
I think we just need somebody who is there to give the trustee report, really.
Yeah.
And that is reliable for that.
and then I think that permanent person would also be the person that comes and reports back to the board, because that is one of our board reports that is on there. So I think that communication piece, even if it is part of the consent agenda, but that it is important that we have that communication back and forth. Okay. So we're good that Jenny will be the permanent person, and then we'll have further discussion about that alternating rural piece in 2 weeks on our regular board meeting. You've got note of that, Mike? Perfect. Okay, so next is division student leadership. So Christina.
I love it. I would be happy to stay. I would like to stay because the first year I didn't really get to do it because it didn't really exist in COVID times. But if someone else wants it, it's fine.
And then you had a busy year this year with it.
Yeah.
You did some stuff.
Yeah,
with
we
it.
got to do a couple of things this year, and they've got some meetings set now. So,
Craig.
Well, I think I don't mind Christina staying on, but I think on that one, it would be nice to have 2 trustees. So I think we just need to talk about it on the 26th.
I agree that we need to have 2 trustees on that one.
yeah, I think there's just some admin tidying alignment to work on some of these pieces. But yeah, if someone else wants to be the first person too, that's also fine.
Who's jumping up yet? Christine? Okay.
No, it's fine.
So
I can wait
let's
for
leave.
the September.
Yep.
And I'll pin this conversation.
It's in 2 weeks' time, so let's leave both position or the position there, and then we'll look at adding that second one. Okay. TIBA, so Tyler's been on for a number of years. There's not much action right now with TIBA. Okay. Thoughts on TIBA, Craig?
That would be one that I wouldn't mind sitting if Tyler wants to give it up, but if he wants to stay on, he's fine. But I was on it in another division, so it'd be kind of nice to get on it again.
Okay. And I think that there is some paperwork that needs to be done in regards to that, so changed our designate. Okay. There you go. So next is Team Lethbridge. So we have Christine and Craig. Christine got to go on a wonderful trip and advocate for our division and our city. Thoughts?
This is always something I would love to stay on if I can, but it's also a great opportunity. Yes, there's a contingency of 60 organizations represented, and it's a really incredible opportunity to showcase the city of Lethbridge. There's training in presentations, and not everybody speaks within a presentation. We meet with ministers, and as a division, we can sign up to meet with certain ministers and work in our education advocacy with the priority being Lethbridge advocacy. And it's really encouraging to see the great work and collaboration that's happening within our city. And so this year is not a travel year, I think. I believe it's the last time we were chatting at the last meeting, it was going to be a locally hosted, hopefully, MLA gathering. So that's in the works. That's Team Lethbridge.
Craig?
This is one committee that should have a 2-year thing, like, so that you're on it 1 year and then the next year you get to travel with them. I would step down, and it's not that I didn't like it. I'll be frank, I just have problems sitting on a bus with a lot of people.
Yep.
And so it gets a little claustrophobic for me. So I will allow someone to take over from me.
And one thing with Team Lethbridge, if you remember when it came up last year, there was a bit of change in the dates. And it's not that it's an every 2-year thing. It depends on when new government comes in and different pieces of it. So it's not necessarily that it is for sure an every 2-year thing. And as Christine said, there are some local pieces to it. So I think that when it comes up, like when there's different events, if whoever is assigned to it isn't able, then we would be offering it out to the whole board as we did last time. And last time there was only one trustee that in the end was able to actually go, which was Christine. So it wasn't that the opportunity is not there for everybody. So I would be interested in putting my name forward if you're coming off, Craig, and then you're wanting to stay on. Okay. You're good? Everybody's good? Okay. So it'll be myself and Christine. Next is PSBA. So Craig is currently the rep and I'm the alternate. Craig.
I'd like to stay on because I think it takes 2 to 3 years and develop some relationships. And I think we've made some really good progress in making those relationships and are learning a lot. So I'd like to stay on.
Yep. And I didn't get to do anything because Craig was at everything. So I would like to stay on, but I also understand that I know Tyler had went to one of the events, and then I know Christina was interested in, you went or you signed up but couldn't.
I did some of the online workshops.
Okay.
I would just say that it's like ASBA. If you're interested, go up, register and go up because the PD is excellent.
Yep.
When we vote, we only get one vote, but we can discuss it as a group. Secondly, you have 2 general meetings. So it would be nice to get more of our board up to those October and June.
Okay. We're okay to leave it. So I just went off the chart and I didn't go through my actual agenda. Am I far off? Did I miss any? Okay. So I think that is it. Do we need any type of? Okay, sounds good. So there was ones that you'll see come up in 2 weeks at our regular board meeting. And if you can take some thought to looking at those terms of reference as well as any other changes that you see when you're going through those as to what that looks like for those terms of reference in 2 weeks. So with that, I'd like to look for a motion to move into camera. Christine, and those in favor? And that's carried.